But I wouldn't fight him the way they fought him. It's just hard to fight him. I would be mean. I would be dirty because you would have to do everything to fight him because he's just so good. You can't fight. It's almost impossible to fight him clean. It's almost impossible to win. Canelo. That's the credit on how masterful he is. You have to be dirty. You got to be rough. You have to use the elbows, head, bend it up. You have to use everything. This guy, as far as his style is concerned, this guy is a master fighter.
Woo! This is Tyson Bear. What's Teo gonna do? Is he gonna punch him in the hands? That's the play. Oh my God, that's the play. Okay, Teo is gonna punch Shakur in his brittle hands. That's what he's gonna do, right? He's gonna punch him. He's gonna meet his knuckles with his knuckles. Shakur's gonna flick out a jab, and Teo's gonna come with a cross to meet the right-handed jab of Shakur. Break his hand. There it is. That's the goal, dude. 1,000 IQ, 2,000 IQ, Teo.
I'll be there. You'll be there? Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So I get to see your live reaction when I take your money.
Little bro walking away with that. You gonna see.
Nah, Shakur is not to be with, but Teo's good.
Teo's good for what he do, but he's been washed.
Nah, come on.
He's been washed.
I see it playing out. Let's say, I see it starting off slow.
Okay.
And then I see as Shakur wins the first round, as Shakur wins the second round, slowly, I think Teo is going to eventually start picking it up and start imposing his will.
Right.
And then, you know, it's just going to go from there. That's how I think it's going to go.
That's a fair assessment. That's a fair one. Especially for that to be his brother.
Yeah, I think it can be competitive. Yeah. You know, Teo's real gifted. Shakur is real defensive. And, you know, I feel like when a fight is super defensive, it can play against you also, you know, because if you go in there trying to be really defensive, it can play against you. But Shakur's a high-level boxer, and Teo ain't on Shakur level. Teo know that. And like I told Teo when I see him, I said it's different. He told me that me and Shakur is used to each other. That's why I feel like it's different. He said Shakur not used to him. So in 2 weeks, we'll see.
All right, fight fans, buckle up because the boxing world's biggest names just delivered their final takes on this massive showdown. And they're saying Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez could get downright vicious. Sure, early betting lines seem to lean toward Shakur, but here's the twist. Seasoned experts are completely changing the narrative. They're pinpointing specific flaws in both camps, weaknesses that could get brutally exposed when the lights go bright. Plus, Tim Bradley just issued a serious heads-up to Shakur, breaking down what he thinks will be Teofimo's hidden game plan to dominate this explosive encounter.
Hey, everybody trying to figure out what this foul or, you know, punch that's illegal or something from Teofimo Lopez. I'm hearing from headbutts to elbows and all kind of stuff. Man, nah, y'all want to know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's basically a kidney shot. That's what he's talking about. You know, Shakur goes up into that what do you call that? Floyd Mayweather type of defense. Yeah, the shoulder roll. Yeah, he turns his back. Yeah. That left hook to the liver. That's what Teofimo gonna be looking for. Yeah. But he's gonna hit his ass in the back.
The buzz surrounding this clash keeps growing bigger, with plenty of people calling for a knockout either way. But Tim Bradley's got a different read on things. He's saying straight up that neither Shakur Stevenson nor Teofimo Lopez pack that devastating one-shot power to end things quick and dirty. What Bradley's seeing instead is pure skill warfare, a strategic back and forth that's gonna unfold slowly, putting stamina, accuracy, and mental toughness to the ultimate test. This one's heading 12 full rounds instead of delivering that explosive early finish everyone's hoping for.
That the Lopez and the Lopez and Shakur fight going the distance. Ain't no damn way it's gonna be a knockout. Either or. It ain't gonna be when was the last time Teofimo Lopez knocked somebody out? And Shakur ain't no knockout puncher either. I don't see it, man. Now, statistically, I think it's gonna be a distance fight. Yeah. So don't wait. I'm gonna tell you, don't waste your money. That's like me wasting my money on Jake Paul. I didn't bet on no damn Jake Paul. I just like trolling, man.
When you're talking about this caliber of talent, both guys bring championship-level abilities that make this matchup absolutely fascinating to break down. Wade Plemons is pointing out that Teofimo Lopez actually holds some sneaky but crucial edges over Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, Shakur's got those slick defensive moves locked down. But Teofimo brings more complete versatility, being lethal when he's pressing forward or firing back on counters. Plemons is zeroing in on specific vulnerabilities, especially those hand problems Shakur's dealing with, and he's expecting Teofimo to bait Shakur into firefights, creating this high-level strategic battle where one wrong step changes everything.
We don't get like a defensive standoff where we're both feinting and no one wants to take the lead foot and both guys want to play counterpuncher. I think that Teo can do both better than Shakur can do both. I think Shakur is probably the better defensive to offensive fighter. I think Teo could probably switch between styles a little better. But if you wanted to take advantage of one's weakness, you would want Teo to try to get Shakur to walk to him. I just don't think it's going to happen. Point being, Teo thinks that Shakur's style of fighting and potentially his hands, I assume, maybe have something to do with that. Like Shakur does have some hand problems. Coming up in weight, if you can't hurt the guys that are bigger than you, and Teo's not like a big 140-pounder, and you look at them standing next to each other, Shakur looks like the bigger guy. But if you can't hurt those guys, and they're good enough skill-wise to hit you, the power's different, the weight is...
Looking deeper into Teofimo Lopez's boxing toolkit, Wade Plemons makes it clear that whether he's moving forward aggressively or sitting back and waiting, Teofimo simply has more weapons than Shakur Stevenson in these situations. He's telling fans to forget about expecting Shakur to just waltz in there and style on everybody. That approach is going to fall short big time. Plemons sees Teofimo controlling the rhythm, winning over the scorecards, and smoothly flowing between attack mode and defensive positioning, while Shakur stays too careful and reserved. His bottom line, Teofimo's got more routes to victory than Shakur, giving him the tactical advantage in this matchup.
Because Teo's not a big 140-pounder, but I do think Teo's boxing ability on the front foot, on the back foot, is going to surprise people in this fight. If they just think Shakur is going to come in and sauce up Teo and that's going to be it, I think people are in for a rude awakening. I think Teofimo Lopez, if you didn't already know, by the fact that he's got a better resume than Shakur, and he's the bigger, quote-unquote, bigger fighter, I think he's going to give a boxing display that's going to be on par with Shakur, and I think it'll come down mostly to who implements game plan better in terms of can Teo get Shakur out of his comfort zone on the front foot and then counter him, or can Shakur do what he does defensively, evade, attack off his back foot, and if that is the case, can Teo sway the judges by being on his front foot and controlling the fight more? That's the way I think most avenues of this fight go.
Pointing out something crucial that most people are missing, Showbiz, the adult, breaks down what he considers the biggest false assumption about this Stevenson versus Lopez battle. He's convinced Shakur is going to have to step up his offensive output dramatically, connecting with steady combination work and racking up clean punches to get the judge's attention. Sure, Shakur's got world-class defensive abilities, but Showbiz is saying that playing defense won't cut it this time. He's drawing parallels to that William Skull versus Canelo situation, emphasizing that title holders almost never lose these kinds of battles, and since Teofimo's wearing the belt, Shakur's carrying way more pressure.
Philly Shell Stevenson, Teo won't land clean, Biz. If Shakur doesn't want him to land clean, he won't. But here's the thing. That means he's going to have to put defense first, and he may not land clean on Teo. This is what y'all got to understand. Is Shakur got to land punches too consistently to compile enough punches and enough rounds to win the fight. Y'all have to understand that too. The point of my sparring, the video breakdown, was Shakur got to land on him. And not once or twice. He got to land on him consistently and often enough to compile rounds to beat the 140-pound champion. That's why William Skull didn't beat Canelo. Canelo was the champion. William Skull couldn't pop and beat Canelo.
Breaking down what Teofimo Lopez really meant during those face-off moments, Showbiz, the adult, thinks Teofimo's blueprint is crystal clear. He's planning to get physical with Shakur while staying within legal bounds, but he'll definitely test those boundaries with some questionable moves. However, Showbiz is quick to point out that past examples prove this game plan is dangerous and far from guaranteed. He brings up Mike Tyson's perspective, emphasizing just how incredibly talented Shakur Stevenson really is, which makes it almost impossible for Teofimo to win through roughhouse tactics alone. Tyson's take serves as a dose of reality, suggesting that Teofimo's mind games might completely blow up in his face come fight night.
Hell no. That's not the first time I heard that. With someone like Shakur Stevenson, who is technically sound, extremely gifted, He's just one of those guys you cannot beat in a fundamental way. I heard that concept from an icon, the all-time great Iron Mike Tyson.
But I wouldn't fight him the way they fought him. It's just hard difficult to fight him. I would be mean. I would be dirty because you would have to do everything to fight him because he's just so good. You can't fight. It's almost impossible to fight him clean. It's almost impossible to win. Canelo. That's the credit on how masterful he is. You have to be dirty. You got to be rough. You have to use the elbows, head, bend it up. You have to use everything. This guy, as far as his style is concerned, this guy is a master fighter.
Showbiz The Adult stresses that if Teofimo Lopez wants to outpoint Shakur Stevenson across 12 complete rounds, he's going to need way more than just throwing punches. Teofimo has to get under Shakur's skin, force mistakes, and blend smart, questionable moves with legitimate boxing technique. From Showbiz's perspective, Shakur represents one of the most fundamentally perfect fighters ever, and dirty tricks by themselves won't be nearly enough. For Teofimo to pull this off, he's got to find that perfect mix between pressure and skill, because anything less makes his road to victory incredibly steep and demanding.
I got to frustrate him. I got to fight the guy. If I try to just, for 12 rounds, out-technical that guy, I got to do a lot of things. Maybe a mixture of them things. Be dirty, right? You irritate, kind of like Bernard Hopkins. B-Hop, love you, boy. He was good for that. Do those borderline things, and then start out boxing. Get you out your game, get in your head, and then start out boxing. Using the athleticism, the power, and all those things that probably try to catch Shakur. But Teofimo, it seems to me that he's like, I cannot fight this guy when he's tight and on his game. I got to have him I got to create flaws for him. Kind of like Zapata when he caught.
Speaking of legends weighing in, Floyd Mayweather absolutely went off on Teofimo Lopez, completely shocking boxing fans with what he said about Shakur Stevenson. When discussing Stevenson's punching ability and complete skill set, Mayweather delivered a direct message aimed at Teofimo. While ranking his top pound-for-pound list, he positioned Stevenson clearly ahead of Lopez, stressing that pure knockout power isn't everything that counts. Stevenson's technical perfection gives him the real advantage here. In Mayweather's mind, that skill gap might be exactly what determines everything when these warriors step between those ropes.
When you think about the fighters who are fighting now, can you give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when it comes to the lightweight? Who you would put where?
As of right now, the two guys, the biggest puncher, I feel at the 135 will probably be Gervonta Tank Davis. But the most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevens.
Floyd Mayweather couldn't stop praising Shakur Stevenson's championship-level abilities, stating flat out that he expects Stevenson to create serious problems for Teofimo Lopez. Mayweather's convinced that Stevenson's technical brilliance and razor-sharp fighting intelligence will let him outclass Lopez and dominate the action completely. No matter how strong Teofimo might be, Mayweather sees Stevenson holding every meaningful advantage, possessing the accuracy, fundamentals, and perfect timing that will likely determine who wins when these two finally collide inside that squared circle.
What is it about him? Because I know you have a lot of good attributes, but do you think he has enough power to sustain?
Well, it's really all about skills. Pernell Whitaker wasn't a huge puncher, but he was, very exciting, very tough, and he fought everybody. Shakur is trying to do the same thing.
One of Shakur Stevenson's biggest believers just delivered a serious reality check heading into this fight. He's saying that when Shakur's operating at full capacity, he's basically untouchable and nearly impossible to beat. But Porter's quick to mention that, during that Zapata scrap, Shakur wasted too much energy moving around and sometimes got careless when trading shots up close. Against someone as powerful and unpredictable as Teofimo Lopez, that same approach is going to spell disaster. Teofimo's strength and wild fighting style create genuine danger, so Stevenson better make some major adjustments if he wants to come out on top.
Shakur gonna always be Shakur. The offense that we saw from him in his last fight was just, he knew what he had in front of him, and eventually he knew that he was going to be in a position where he could have his way with with the kid who was in the ring. I'm losing his name off the top of my head.
Right, I know you're talking about. But I believe he that way because he started hearing all the call of him running. He started saying, you know what? Let me stay in the pocket because he stood in the pocket a lot more than he normally stood in the pocket with that fight. You know what I'm saying?
It took some unnecessary shots.
Huh?
It took unnecessary shots.
Well, okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
But you see what kind of fan base he got after that too. The doubters started saying, you know what? I'm gonna roll with him more because we were getting tired of him running and skillfully beating.
Even more concerning, Sean Porter points out that Teofimo Lopez's twitchy, explosive movement patterns make him incredibly hard to read and a legitimate nightmare for Shakur Stevenson. Porter dives deep into how he thinks this whole thing will unfold, studying Shakur's likely responses and Teofimo's overall strategy. His analysis suggests Teofimo might actually have more ways to win this fight than Shakur does. That said, Shakur's practically perfect defensive system keeps impressing everyone, holding fans and experts completely captivated with every single move and proving exactly why he's recognized as one of boxing's absolute finest talents right now.
He finds his moments and then he turns it on. The difference is when he turns it on is he's delivered that power to a point where we actually sit back and all right, round after round, like, all right, he's losing these rounds. He knows he's losing these rounds, but let's just wait on it. And then eventually comes the big kaboom.
Well, that's what we want to see, man. We want to see kabooms.
Okay. Last thing I'm gonna say on this fight, though, I think there's more avenues to victory for Teofimo Lopez than there is for Shakur.
I agree.
Because Shakur is so set in who he is, and I absolutely love it, straight up and down. But it's gonna be so hard to pull him out of who he is. And the other side of that is Teofimo can go the defensive route. He can go to force you to at least walk towards him.
Delivering some hard truth, Eddie Hearn thinks this entire fight comes down to whoever takes charge immediately and dictates the tempo right from those opening moments, using calculated pressure instead of wild, reckless attacks. He's forecasting a disciplined strategic battle where neither Shakur Stevenson nor Teofimo Lopez will hunt for highlight reel moments, relying instead on sharp fundamentals, perfect timing, superior footwork, and pure ring intelligence. With two world-class athletes competing, this becomes a marathon of focus, mental strength, and physical conditioning, and across those full 12 rounds, victory goes to whoever makes the best adjustments and enforces their will most effectively.
I think it's a fight that could be a little bit of a chess match early on. You know, you've got two guys that are very reactive, two guys that are super sharp, two guys that like to feint and set traps, and two guys with tremendous boxing IQ and footwork. So generally that lends itself to a fight that's going to be quite nip and tuck and a little bit of a chess match early on. I think the fight could be won maybe by the person that takes the fight by the scruff of the neck. You know, sometimes in those kind of fights, it can be a very close fight with very close rounds. Neither fighter will want to be reckless. Neither fighter will want to make mistakes because they know they'll get punished. But sometimes you have to take the fight by the scruff of the neck in a fight like that.
Eddie Hearn drops some serious reality ahead of this championship clash, calling that whoever grabs early control and establishes their rhythm from that very first bell will ultimately decide everything. Instead of hunting for spectacular knockouts, both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez are gonna lean on intelligent pressure, crisp technique, flawless timing, smooth footwork, and superior boxing IQ. When you've got two elite-level athletes sharing the same ring, it transforms into a marathon of patience, composure, and pure endurance. Through those complete 12 rounds, whoever adapts fastest and executes their strategy with the most precision walks away holding all the gold.
Good question. Look, for Shakur, I think Shakur is massively underrated in terms of his achievements and his ability. Everyone in boxing knows how good Shakur is. He is pound for pound, top 5 in terms of quality. But look at the achievements of the young man. At 28 years of age, he's already a 3-division world champion. This is to become a 4-division world champion. Quite remarkable. And Teofimo always rises to the occasion. Sometimes you see a little bit of a lackluster performance when he's not motivated, when there isn't kind of any legacy on the line. This is different. This is a sold-out Madison Square Garden between two of the elite fighters of our generation. And the best thing about this fight is we're seeing them in their prime.
With everything on the line getting bigger, TV personality Demetria Obeler jumps in, observing that Shakur Stevenson comes in as the betting favorite facing a high-pressure, come-forward style fighter like Teofimo Lopez. Taking lessons from Stevenson's battle against William Zapata, she notes that his defensive counter-punching approach mirrors Floyd Mayweather's blueprint, and everyone should expect more of the same masterful performance. Obeler also breaks down how Teofimo might create his own opportunities by running a calculated game plan to handle Stevenson's pressure while establishing his own dominant presence inside those ropes.
Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, who you got? And off the rip, Shakur is a minus 340 favorite. And being the tactical general he is in the ring, you can already see why. I mean, and he's going up against Teo, who for me is a real brawl artist. You gotta give it to Teofimo. He has got a lot of heart, and he really shines in the exchanges against opponents, just willing to let those hands go. And that's another reason why you gotta love him. But Shakur is more slippery than that, okay? He uses that back foot to control the ring, and if Teo wants to make his presence known, if he wants to be felt, he's got to cut the ring, attempt to control the pacing. And even so, we saw Cepeda coming at Shakur last summer with pressure. He wouldn't stop, lots of volume, and what did we get from that fight? Supreme defense kicking in. People were comparing Shakur to Mayweather with those shoulder rolls, right? Accurate counterpunching, all of what we've come to expect from Shakur, and I do think we're going to see some great exchanges.
At the exact same time, Demetria Obeler breaks down what makes Teofimo Lopez so dangerous, focusing on his ability to dominate when he cuts down the distance, especially against fighters pushed backward, similar to what he accomplished against Sandor Martin. Even though that particular fight had its difficult moments, Lopez proved he knows how to close gaps effectively and create damage. But she stresses one major point that can't be ignored. Shakur Stevenson's talent level operates on a completely different plane, and with the bonus advantage of sparring alongside Bud Crawford, he's walking into this showdown with fresh weapons and tactics designed to challenge Teofimo unlike anyone ever has before.
Some people a little bearish on the fight, thinking because of the clash of styles here, we're going to see something similar to what we saw a few years ago when it was Shakur versus De Los Santos. Absolute snooze fest. I disagree. Teo has proven that he can close distance when opponents are on the back foot, and we saw that against Sandor Martin, although it did cost him at times. One knockdown, another moment that kind of looked like a knockdown, but it wasn't counted. But Shakur is better than Martin. And I mean, Shakur's been in camp with Bud Crawford, and training with him. That's a scary thought for anyone standing across from him. Now, for boxing purists, this is absolutely a fight you gotta see. I'm really excited for this one, and I want to know what you guys think. Who walks away with the dub? Are you team Shakur or are you team Teo? Let me know in the comments.
With the Madison Square Garden war getting closer, boxing icon Roy Jones Jr. dropped his professional analysis of the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson collision. He emphasized that Lopez absolutely cannot play things safe if victory is the goal, because staying back and boxing from long range would allow Stevenson to utilize his world-class footwork and defensive mastery to systematically pick him apart piece by piece. Jones Jr. thinks Lopez has to take smart chances, maintain constant aggression, and force Stevenson completely out of his comfort zone. Done right, this strategy could transform the entire fight into a high-stakes, explosive war from the opening to the final bell.
Stylistically, man, how does Shakur beat Teo and vice versa? Stylistically, how does Teo beat Shakur?
Stylistically, Teo got to go in and go for broke. He got to go gamble. He got to take some, get some, and that's just the only way to win. If he stays outside of boxes, Shakur gonna pick him apart. Shakur's a polished boxer with some of the best speed in the game right now. And he's a defensive-minded fighter, which is very smart. It's hard to hit him. He makes you gamble to hit him, and he's going to be a tough one to deal with. But if Teofimo is willing to gamble to beat him, then Teofimo can definitely make it a really good fight.
Bringing even more insight to the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson championship battle, respected trainer Abel Sanchez shared a fearless prediction that's getting attention. He thinks Lopez absolutely must come out swinging and attack from that very first second, cautioning that any other approach might turn this into a slow, boring affair that nobody wants to watch. Meanwhile, Sanchez observes that Stevenson will need to keep his distance and stay smart because Lopez's explosive knockout ability can flip the entire momentum instantly with one perfectly placed shot. This complete clash of contrasting styles, according to him, is precisely what could transform this matchup into an absolutely electrifying show for everyone watching.
Shakur's a great talent, and Teofimo looked great in his last fight. Of course, he didn't have Shakur in front of him, but I think that for Shakur, he has to keep the fight at his distance. If he does that, I think it's a win for him. Teofimo, he's more, he wants to draw you in, he wants to counter punch. He's gonna have to be a different guy this time. He's gonna have to attack. He's gonna have to be leading the fight, or else it's gonna be a boring fight. I don't think it'll be a boring fight, but if he sits back and waits for Shakur's gonna wait for him, then it's not gonna be exciting. But I think Teofimo will attack. I think Teofimo has to attack. I think Teofimo has to do what Zepeda did, except for Teofimo's a lot more talented than Zepeda was.
Sanchez went further by saying that even though he's expecting fireworks, fans need to mentally prepare for the real possibility of a draw decision. Even with Lopez's devastating power and Stevenson's technical brilliance, he thinks these two fighters match up so perfectly that neither one might completely dominate the other. This scenario could easily lead to a controversial split decision or majority draw. His forecast brings another fascinating element to an already must-see championship fight, keeping everyone guessing and highlighting just how incredibly balanced and competitive this entire matchup really appears to be.
So I think that, I honestly, I see a draw.
That's exactly why I'm seeing a draw happening, but I expect both of them to have incredible rounds and deliver exactly the kind of battle that the audience is craving to witness. Gary Russell Jr. has jumped into the conversation too, mapping out the exact blueprint Teofimo Lopez should follow for success. He thinks that if Teofimo can repeatedly force Shakur to move forward, only to walk straight into perfectly timed counter shots, the judges will definitely notice those clean combinations landing. This could swing the scorecards heavily in Lopez's direction. Russell emphasizes that Teofimo needs to focus on controlled accuracy instead of wild chaos. That same measured approach he used to dominate Lomachenko. Russell predicts this tactical discipline could set Teofimo up perfectly for victory.
Physically, you're touching him more than he's touching you. The judges and pay attention to that. You know, he can push Shakur on the back foot and make Shakur fight defensively depending on his attacks. It has to be, like I say, he got to do it in spurts. Take them first half rounds. When he fought Lomachenko, if he fights Shakur the way that he fought Lomachenko, that will somewhat poke holes in Shakur's game as far as allowing him to dictate the ring, dictate the revenue of the ring. You know, he'd have to mash the gas, like I say, in spurts.
Meanwhile, Gary Russell Jr. sends a direct warning to Teofimo Lopez about avoiding one critical mistake. Don't get trapped moving backward. He's got to stay busy and keep pressing forward against Shakur Stevenson, because hanging back passively would give Shakur every opportunity to capitalize on his deadly combinations and superior ring intelligence. However, Russell does believe Teofimo possesses the power and skill to really hurt Shakur, something that Shakur can't necessarily return with the same impact. If Teofimo follows his game plan perfectly and uses this power advantage the right way, it might be the deciding factor that tips everything in his favor.
Make him question when he punches. And another thing, he has the ability to hurt Shakur too. I don't believe Shakur has the ability to hurt him. You know, but Shakur could be a long motherfucking night too, because if Gordo goes out there, Teofimo Lopez goes out there, and he don't mash the gas, and he want to sit on his back foot and wait and try to bullshit around, Shakur going pot shot his ass all the way through. It's going to be a long night. All 12, it's going to be a long night.
As these debates get more intense, respected coach Joel Diaz throws in his perspective, clearly favoring Shakur Stevenson to come out ahead. He thinks Teofimo Lopez might attempt to force early exchanges, but warns this could result in a dull fight since both guys will probably stick to defensive-minded approaches. While Diaz acknowledges that Teofimo has the aggression needed to create action, he cautions that Shakur's lightning-fast movement and championship-level defensive toolkit will make it incredibly tough for Lopez to successfully execute his game plan, allowing Stevenson to stay in complete command from start to finish.
Teofimo, Shakur, I think Shakur. I like Shakur.
stylistically, you know. Teofimo is a tough fighter as well, but it's gonna be a boring fight, honestly. It's gonna be a chess game because they're both smart fighters. They're very technical, and they're gonna be very defensive to the whole fight, you know.
So there's the complete breakdown, with every major voice in boxing examining every single angle of this incredible championship showdown. Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson is shaping up to be a tactical masterpiece loaded with skill, strategy, and explosive possibilities. Time for you to weigh in. Which fighter do you think claims victory when it's all said and done? Share your thoughts and predictions down in the comments section. Smash that like button if this analysis helped you out, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you catch every single update leading up to this fight of the year.